Hey everybody, welcome in. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make your own A6 size stuffing or cash stuffing envelopes. I feel like as a cash budgeter, it is definitely such a flex to be able to make your own so that you're not constantly shelling out money to other people, because I feel like we tend to get so bored with what we have and a lot of us just like to switch up our binders. So I'm going to try to make this video under 15 minutes if possible. I'm going to do my best, guys, because I just feel like when it gets over that, it just is too much information. So I'm going to try to make this as simple as I can. So we are in my Canva, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come straight over to create. And from create, I'm going to scroll down. My mouse is acting up, sorry. So I'm going to scroll down to custom size, and we're going to make our page the size of a standard sheet of paper. So that's 8.5 by 11 inches. And as you can see, that's my most used setting. From here, we are going to go straight into elements. And in elements, look, my mouse is acting up, my internet's acting up, so I'm sorry for like the slow loading. I don't know what's going on with AT&T. All right, so we're gonna come to shapes. We're gonna go to the square here. And we are just gonna move our square up. I like to use a size of 6.5. I'm gonna move this over. This isn't like 6.4 or 6.5 by 3.2 is what I like to do. Perfect. So from here, we are going to come up to change our color. We're going to put no color, and then we're going to come over to stroke style to make an outline for us to cut. And we're going to do a solid line. And for stroke weight, I'm going to change that to 1 to get the thinnest line possible. Then we're going to click on it again, and I'm going to come up to stroke color. And I'm going to change it from black to a light gray. That way, if any of the border gets left when we cut, at least it won't be that harsh black. It'll be a little bit easier on the eyes. So from here, so I'm going to make an envelope for Happy Mail because I do like to support small businesses, and I think that the ladies that make envelopes and saving challenges, I think they're so creative. So I tend to spend my money on Etsy. A lot of times I get like the downloadable challenges more so than the physical items because they can be a little pricey. So I'm going to come back away from shapes to just the regular elements page, and it says describe your ideal element. I am going to do Happy Mail. And I'm going to do this cute envelope with the flowers coming out. And I'm just going to size it down a little bit. I'm going to place it where I want it. And then I'm going to come over here. We're going to do a text box. And then I'm going to do Happy Mail and just bring this font size up to how I want it. We're going to go ahead and move that into place. I'm just going to put it right on the side there. Now, I don't want that plain font, so I am going to change it. I'm going to do kitten. And I'm going to change the color. I'm going to change it to pink. You guys know I love my pink. Now, I don't like the way that looks, so I am going to add a little outline. So we're going to go to Effects, and we're going to outline. I'm going to change, actually I kind of like that, but I am going to make my font bigger just so I can see it a little better. Okay, I think I like that spacing or that placement. So then I'm going to come over to elements again, and you guys can see I already thought through how I wanted to make it. I'm going to do this blue sky background. And you can type in like anything, and Canva will find a background for you. And if there is no background that kind of matches what you want, they do have like a little AI element. Like if you're okay with using AI, I know a lot of people don't care for AI just because of the environmental consequences of it. But if you don't mind using it, they do have an AI setting where you can kind of tell Canva what you want to make and it will make it for you. So with this blue sky background, we can either come to these three dots up here and go to layer and send it backward to bring the envelope forward, or you can do control and the bracket key and you can just send it back that way. So that is my envelope. That's what I want it to look like. And you can fit 3 of these to a page. So I'm actually going to cut the video out here and then I will follow up with you guys once I have my other 3 and I'm ready to print. Okay, so I have my 3 envelopes that I'm going to print. Clearly you can see I do not care about my envelopes matching. I like to have a little variation. I like for my stuff to be like bright and vibrant, so I'm okay with that. But of course, if you want everything to match, do you? So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to come up here to share. And then from share, I'm going to download. I'm going to change this to PDF print, which is best for printing. And then we're going to download it. And then from here, we have a nice PDF file where we can print our things. And I am literally just printing my same Christmas envelope that I had last year. And I've already used this envelope style, but I'm going to go ahead and do that again. So we're just going to come up here to print. We are going to do that. And I'm printing on cardstock. You can use vellum if you want like that modern look. But I find when I do the vellum, I feel like doing cardstock, they last a little bit longer. And you don't even have to use cardstock, honestly. You can honestly just use regular printer paper if you want, because it's gonna get laminated. But I personally find that they hold up best, and I feel like they're like sturdier when I use cardstock. So that's what I'm gonna do. And once this prints out, we will be ready to start cutting and laminating. So I'm gonna cut out again until it's printed. That modern look. But I find when I do the vellum, I feel like doing cardstock, they last a little bit longer. And you don't even have to use cardstock, honestly. You can honestly just use regular printer paper if you want, because it's gonna get laminated. But I personally find that they hold up best, and I feel like they're like sturdier when I use cardstock. So that's what I'm gonna do. And once this prints out, we will be ready to start cutting and laminating. So I'm gonna cut out again until it's printed. Okay, so from here, we are just gonna take our paper cutter and we are gonna go ahead and line this up and get to cutting. Now I will say that with, what am I trying to say? It really does depend on the quality of your cardstock, how the paper cuts. I find when I get cardstock from like Michael's, it is actually really good, as opposed to when I buy my cardstock from Walmart. And this is Walmart cardstock that I'm using right now. And I feel like the borders kind of are a little bit more jagged, a little rough. So that's just something to keep in mind, but it's something that I personally don't mind. But if that's like something that will bother you, just please be aware of that. So we've got our 3 envelopes, the decor, whatever. You guys know what I'm trying to say. They're cut. So we're gonna move on to the laminating process. All right, guys, so I've got my laminator, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. And I have some 3mm laminating pouches. You can either get 3mm or you can get 5mm. 5mm are definitely a lot more sturdy, and actually the type that I prefer to use, but I don't have any 5mm pouches right now. So we're gonna just make some 3mm pouches, and that's gonna be just fine. So I'm gonna put this on 3mm. And as you can see, I have 2 pouches, and you might be wondering why that is. It's because we have to make a little pocket. So in order to make the pocket, we have to do a little extra. And this is honestly the most difficult part, but it's not that hard. So rest assured, it's not that hard. As long as you don't forget to do this step, the next couple steps, you'll be fine. All right, so what I'm gonna do, what I like to do personally, because I'm not one that's like a super stickler for everything being super uniform. They will be about the same size, don't worry. But, you know, they're not like down to the millimeter. So what I like to do, first off, I'm actually gonna cut off this rounded portion. Cut that off, and then I think the other side will be okay. I've got like stuff all over this board. What is this? Okay, so I'm just gonna bring our card, I guess you would call it. I'm gonna bring it, and I like to leave a little bit of space around the top. I'll try to zoom in on the camera so you guys can see like what I'm talking about, but I like to leave a little overhang because I really wanted it to get a good seal around the card. So I'm gonna leave some space, probably about not even 1/2 inch of space that I wanna leave, but I'm gonna put that in there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side and make sure that I'm leaving that room for a little overhang so I can get a really good seal. And then what I'll do after that is I'll literally just use this piece to make the other pieces the same size. And then we'll do it again for the final envelope. Okay, so we got our 3 pieces. We can just toss this out. So we are going to leave a little space, give a little cut, and then the final one, we're gonna do the exact same thing. Leave our space. Okay, now we're good. Now we can put this away, and this can go in the trash. All right, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring our other pouch. We're gonna open this up. And then what we're gonna do with this piece is, because as you can see, they're sticking together. So those are the sides that are gonna adhere to each other. So what we wanna do is we want to peel them apart. And we're just gonna flip them so that the pieces that are gonna adhere to this side and this side. So we are just gonna that down, and then we can put our card right in the middle of that. And we're gonna do the same thing with the other 2. You wanna make sure that you're leaving some space though. Like I've seen people fit 3 on here. I haven't figured out how to do that. because I just haven't figured it out. So you want to make sure you're leaving some space, because we're going to leave off about 1/2 inch at the bottom to make room to punch our holes. So we're going to space it out a little bit. Make sure we got overhang at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to actually reposition this. I feel like it's too close to the bottom. Okay, that's better. Make sure that the corners of these are lined up as good as you can get them. It just makes a cleaner look when it's laminated. All right, and then we're just gonna bring this down over top. Voila. And I'm not gonna do the third one on camera just because time, but I will show you guys these two to the end. So we are just gonna pick this up and we're gonna put it into the laminator and let the laminator do its thing. And then if you feel like it doesn't get a good enough seal around it, feel free to run it through again. But usually once is enough. And that's also something you can do, like if you get to the point like later on when you're using your envelopes and you notice like if the laminate is starting to come undone, you can just heat up your laminator and run the envelope through and it'll reseal it, which is why it's such a good thing to learn how to make your own envelopes, because you can really extend the life of them if you have your own laminator. Or just buy a laminator if you want to keep buying from the smaller shops. Just get a laminator, that way you can kind of refresh your envelopes as needed. So this is what we have. Yay, very pretty. So we are going to bring out the cutter once again. And what we're gonna do, what I like to do, because I use my Cricut cutter. I know some people have like the actual like paper cutters with like the lever, but I don't have, well actually I do have one, but I don't like to use it. I prefer this. So what I like to do is I will use the markings down here and I will line up the edge of the card, not the laminate border, but the edge of the card. I will line it up with the 1/2 inch mark right here. And that is where I will cut. And then with the top, you can actually cut into the laminate. That's what's gonna form your pocket. So I'm gonna cut into this border. And then it opens like a pocket. And then try to hold this up as close as I can. And then you see where this border is, you wanna make sure you're not cutting into that border, because again, that is what's holding the envelope together. So we're gonna go a little out to make sure we avoid that seal. I'm gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. Make sure we avoid the seal. Get it as close to it as we can without cutting into it. And then you have a little pocket. So we're gonna do the same thing with my hair appointments envelope. And if it's a little like crooked when you go to line it up, what I like to do is, another reason why I like to use this, but I'm pretty sure you can do the same thing with the paper cutter. What I like to do is I'll line up, because like, as I don't know if you guys can see, but like if you see, like I have it down here and it's completely crooked. So what I will do is I will literally just shift it so that way it's straight when I go to cut it, and the card, the envelope isn't looking crazy. So you just line it up along that straight line, and then you'll cut, because we're cutting off all this extra so we can make it straight that way. And then again, avoid cutting into the laminate on the sides, or the seal, not the laminate. We're definitely cutting the laminate. But make sure you're not cutting into that seal. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Just cut this over a little bit. Let me make sure I'm good. And then we're gonna cut into the seal at the top. And voila. So we've got our 2 envelopes. I'm gonna get rid of all this extra. Okay, so we got our paper punch, and I'm gonna set this to, now it says A6 agenda on here, but I find that that is not correct. On mine, this is the Agenda 52. I got this from Hobby Lobby. I like this. I set it to personal desk facts instead of A6. And what you can do, even just to be sure that you're you have it on the correct setting, is to just kind of put it up to the binder itself and see where they line up. So as you can see, A6 is not the correct setting for mine. I had to find that out the hard way after I had already taken my time to make the envelope, and then I went to punch it and it was all off. I was devastated. So what I like to do is I will take it and I will look at it this way. I will see when it is even on both sides. And then once I feel like it's even on both sides, then I'll move this in. And then I can go ahead, hold it upright, punch it, voila. And then we're gonna do the same thing for this one. See if it's even or not. And once I feel like it's in a good enough position, I'm gonna take this out a little bit actually. Once I feel like it's in a good enough position, then I will punch it. And then I have a corner cutter, but I don't know where it is, but that's fine, because sometimes unless you have like one of the like more industrial corner punchers, sometimes the blade can kind of get stuck and then it kind of mangles your corners. So I'm actually just going to use a normal pair of scissors, and I'm just going to round out the corners so that when I go to stuff my envelopes, I'm not like poking myself on these sharp edges. So I'm literally just going to round them out. Okay, and we have 2 envelopes, and I am going to put them in here so you guys can see what they're looking like. So I'm just going to slide this right in. And we have 2 new envelopes. And then if you guys just want to see what it looks like once you put the money in, the money fits right in perfectly. And that is how I make my A6 envelopes. Now, of course, if you don't want them quite this like glossy, you can use matte. You can use matte laminate paper. But me personally, I don't mind the glossy. It looks a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more cheerful, I guess you could say. I don't know. So I don't mind the glossy at all. But yeah, that is a very quick, easy way to make some A6 envelopes. I hope this was helpful to you guys. Please leave me any comments, any questions, and I will answer them as soon as I can. I hope you enjoyed this video. If this was helpful to you, please go ahead and give this video a like. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please consider go ahead and doing that now. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.